How's it going, guys? I was gonna do a monologue, but yeah, no, I can't top Mingus on that, so I just decided to not even bother. So yeah, you're probably wondering right now, where is Mingus? And the answer is, I don't know. I really don't. It's a little concerning, actually. I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, but we need a video this week, so I guess it's just me. Just the Futtermann show this week. Yeah, I'm Futterman, by the way. That's probably the quickest time we've ever, or I guess I've ever introduced myself. Yeah, so I bet you're wondering what I bet you're wondering what I'm going to do this week, other than stumble over my words because I don't have my co-host. Yeah, so I decided this week, since it's just me, I'm going to do something that's near and dear to my heart, and not so much to Mingus's. So, yeah, this week we're doing Legos. Legos, something I love. I've always loved them since I was a child. I went through a phase in middle school where I kind of stopped liking Legos, but I got back into them in college. So, yeah, Legos, they're awesome. Yeah, so this week specifically, I thought I'd go through and make a list of my top 10 favorite Lego sets of all time. Yeah. So, yeah, this is just my personal opinion. It's heavily based on nostalgia, obviously, and personal preference. You're probably going to be surprised by some of them because there are some pretty amazing sets out there, but I'm limiting my list to sets that I actually personally owned so that, I can have an actual opinion on them, or, a more thorough opinion on them at least. So you'll notice that there aren't any of the bigger sets. I think the most expensive set on my list is just over $100. Because, yeah, I would happily put some UCS sets on here if I could afford them, but I can't, so I'm sticking to what I got. So, all right, I guess without further ado, let's begin. So, at number 10, we got the Darth Vader transformation. Now, this is the classic version of the set, and you'll see I actually have images. Yeah, fancy, right? Anyways, yeah, they have done a more modern, revamped version of this set that is objectively a lot better. In fact, I'm pretty sure this set is kind of one of the less liked ones among the LEGO community. It's kind of a letdown. I believe it was actually only $7 when it came out. Nowadays, it would probably just be a poly bag, but back then it did come in a box. Yeah, it was a neat little set, though. The reason it's on my list, though, is because it's one that I actually remember being super excited about. I saw it in a LEGO magazine. I went to the store and bought it. And the entire reason I wanted it was because it was the cheapest set that came with a Darth Vader minifigure. And I really, really wanted one. Now, you'll notice this Darth Vader, though, does not even come with a cape or a lightsaber. But I didn't care. I was a kid. And here we had a Darth Vader set well within my reach. Also, I loved Revenge of the Sith. And this scene was very memorable, of course, the one where Anakin becomes Darth Vader. And now, yeah, I will agree with most people, though, that the Anakin minifigure that comes with this set is pretty terrible. You can kind of see him in the bottom left there. Not at all accurate to the movie, in that he still has all of his limbs. But, this is a LEGO set. They probably had to tone down the violence a little bit. They couldn't exactly have all of his skin burned off like in the movie, and still be a kid's toy. But you know what? So this set holds a special place in my heart, even though it's objectively not one of the better ones. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that one. Let's move on. Number 2. This is from the Space Police line. Yeah, the picture's a little blurry, but it's the best one I could find. So this is called the Space Truck Getaway. Now, this one, it's awesome. Just look at it. It's so cool. I actually loved the Space Police line, which I guess technically this was a reboot of the Space Police line. Back in the 90s, they actually did Space Police as part of the greater LEGO space theme. Space Police was kind of one of the offshoots of that theme, along with what else was there? Robotron or something like that. It was what it was called. Insectoids. There was a few, but they all fell under the LEGO space branding. But the Space Police was just one of those branches. But this one was rebooted in the early 2000s, and was its own thing that time around. But I absolutely loved this entire line, really. But this set was my favorite of them just because the ship is so cool. I loved the entire aesthetic of this whole line where they took, it's just the police vehicles looked futuristic and sleek, and all of the criminals' vehicles were just basically rugged space versions of what we actually have. So this one, of course, is just some kind of, cargo truck, but it's got a big death laser in this inside. But this set had just some awesome play features, as you can see that space laser actually goes into the truck and then the truck folds shut. So I guess the idea is that, that was also what's cool, is that these sets actually tell a story. Like each one, you can tell kind of a story just from what comes in the set. And this one, it looks like they actually stole that laser from the Space Police, given that it has the red and blue lights on it and the white color scheme. So it looks like they actually stole that from the Space Police, stowed it in the back of their space truck, and are now getting away. And we have this one brave officer that's deciding to go after them without even, a car. Unless you buy the car in a separate set, then you can have him go after them in a car. But that's beside the point. Anyways, I love the whole line. This is my favorite set from the line just because it was so imaginative. Moving on. Number 7. Right? And 8. Number 8. I can count. The Razor Crest. This one has a transparent background, so just admire how goofy that looks. But yeah, this is probably the most modern set on this list. Most recent one just came out a couple of years ago, along with the first season of The Mandalorian. It's just a really cool set. It is a more spendy one. This one's price point was $130, and probably more now, since I believe it's maybe no longer in production. But yeah, it came with a really cool set of minifigures. You got IG-11 there, so that was an IG droid. You got a Scout Trooper that looks awesome. Baby Yoda, of course, or Grogu, I guess. Although at this point they were just calling him the Child because they hadn't revealed his name yet. You got Season 1 Mando with his rifle, which is really cool. I think there might have been only one other set, but yeah, most of the sets of The Mandalorian now have him in his more sleek and silver armor. I like this one has his beat up, rusty looking armor. It's really neat. And then you got Grief Karga there, which, yeah, he's cool. Comes with some stuff. But yeah, what you can't see in this picture is that the inside of this is actually fully decorated. It's got a carbonite chamber where you can, hang the Mandalorian's bounties. It's got a little sleeping chamber. Then on the top there, it's actually got I believe it's some kind of escape pod. I think it's called a life pod canonically. But apparently that's something that's actually part of the Razor Crest design in canon. It was just never utilized in the show. It just kind of appeared in the concept art and such. But yeah, that whole top little piece, you can stick a minifigure inside of it, and then the whole thing comes out and has a little thruster on it. So it's actually kind of cool. But yeah, it's also, the cockpit opens up, of course, and you can put your guys in there, and then the little compartment behind the cockpit actually opens up as well and has a little area to store your weapons. So it's just lots of attention to detail, just looks amazing. It's one of those sets where I feel like the higher price point is actually justified. This thing actually took me, I think, around 6 to 8 hours to build, and that was just continuous building because I had nothing better to do, of course. But yeah, I feel like for the amount of time you get in building it, just the level of detail, the arrangement of minifigures, this is one that actually is worth the $130 price point. So let's move to the next one. Yeah, okay, Aqua Raiders. Now this is another line that I just absolutely love. It was very short-lived, unfortunately. It was kind of it wasn't exactly a reboot. It was kind of a spiritual successor to the Aqua Zone line from the early 90s. Or maybe late 90s, but either way, I honestly just love anything that LEGO has done with underwater themes. The LEGO Atlantis line, I don't believe I actually had any of the sets from it, but I saw them in the magazines, and I absolutely loved all of them. Whoever's designing these sets at LEGO's is doing a great job. They've got just, the sea creatures always look great. The submarines, they're awesome. I love it. The whole theme of this whole line was, you've just got undersea treasure hunters and then giant sea life trying to fight them. So every set came with usually some kind of vehicle, a couple of divers, and some kind of sea life. I had another set that included a giant anglerfish and another one that had a lobster, I believe. But this one was by far my favorite just because that brick-built shark is incredible. He actually has a little rubber, one of those double axle rubber pieces, so you can actually flex his tail back and forth. There's not a lot else to say about this one. It's amazing. The submarine's really cool. Lots of details. Got the little launcher on the front before all of LEGO launchers just became like stud shooters and such. Yeah, super cool. Moving on. Here we go. Arc 170 Starfighter from the Clone Wars, I guess. Well, I guess technically this is from the Revenge of the Sith. You can see that the characters aren't really in their Clone Wars style, but this set did come out a few years after the movie, kind of around the time the Clone Wars was running, so it was kind of more of a throwback set. But yeah, it's just a, it's a Starfighter. It's awesome. It's got kind of the same wing functionality as the X-Wing, where it's got a little gear on the back you twist, and it makes the wings spread out, and then it's got some rubber bands that pull them shut when you close it, or, when you twist it the rest of the way. What's also cool is you can't see in the picture, but it's actually got a couple of little rockets underneath the cockpit there that will shoot out, like you're dropping bombs on something. And what was really cool is I thought that they did a good job with incorporating the functionality into the build really easily. That was a lot of big words for no reason. But basically, the little gear thing, actually, you can push it inward, and it'll push on those rockets and shoot them out the front. Kind of hard to describe, but if you see it, it makes sense. But yeah, just super cool set. Not a lot else to say about it. Just really detailed, really nice. Comes with Kit Fisto, which is always a plus. Yeah, moving on. Tron Legacy. Here we go. Yeah, so I believe we're in the top 5 now. This is number 5. Yep. So yeah, awesome set. It was actually a Lego Ideas set, the first Lego Ideas set I actually ever bought. But yeah, it's just awesome. It's a couple of light cycles. You get Sam Flynn and Rinsler, which is of course the evil Tron, and you get Korra there with a katana. Yeah, it was a $30 set, which seems a little high for how small it is, but this actually had a surprisingly high piece count. It took me a while to put it together. What's not shown in the pictures, it actually comes with a base as well that you build that has kind of like the grid patterns on it. Makes for a really nice display piece. It looks great on your shelf. And then of course you can take the light cycles off of the stand and play with them if you want. But yeah, it's just it's super cool. The discs on their backs come off and can be used as, weapons. It just looked really faithful to the movie. I thought they did a great job. I really would have loved to just see a full Tron line at some point, but unfortunately that's probably not going to happen since the Tron movies have kind of, neither of them have really performed that well. It's been a franchise that Disney has tried to get off the ground and just never seems to be able to, which is unfortunate because I actually really like both movies. But yeah, awesome set. It's out of production now, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm really glad I picked this one up while I could. So, all right, moving on. We got number 4, the Lego Castle Dwarves Mine. Yeah, this was one I was super excited for. Got it for Christmas one year. This is number 4 on my list as well. Guess I should be keeping track of that. Yeah, so it's just a really cool set. I mean, I've said that about all of these, but it's true. It comes with a bunch of dwarves. That's probably one of my favorite things about this is just the dwarf minifigures. They come with, the short legs so that they're the proper height. But my favorite part is probably the beards and the helmets. Like, the beards actually cover pretty much their entire torso. It's an entirely separate piece that I believe was made exclusively for this set, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, it comes with, I believe, like 5 or 6 dwarves, and each one has a unique beard. And yeah, the helmets are great. It comes with weaponry and such. But yeah, what's really cool about this one is just the play features. It's got the big doors there that swing open. It's got that minecart track with the minecarts that can swivel back and forth, and it's got that bucket thing you can see there with the gold that dumps into the minecarts. And I don't know, it's just a lot of little elaborate features. You can't really see all of them in the picture very well, but in the top right, there's if you spin that wheel, it actually draws a bucket up from below. And of course, you have the catapult on the left, and you get a couple of trolls and a big ogre dude. So really just a fun set. A lot of fun to build, a lot of fun to play with. I got a lot of use out of this one as a kid. Probably one I'm going to rebuild in the near future, actually. So, yeah. Dwarven Mine. Awesome set. My favorite, okay, not my favorite. You'll see what my favorite is, but moving on. Yeah. So here's my favorite Lego Castle set. Another blurry picture, unfortunately. But yeah, this one, the Lego Castle Drawbridge, it's just, it's incredible. It's barely tops the Dwarven Mine as my favorite set from the modern Lego Castle line, or I guess the most recent one. Actually, there might have been one after that. But either way, I love this set. as I've said about all of them. But yeah, you get that Gold Knight figure. He was super cool. Well, really, all the minifigures in this set are just a slam dunk. The Jester is just amazing. I love the color. I love his, the headpiece, which I believe his little hat was brand new in this set. I believe it's been used in other sets since then, but at the time, this was the only way to get it. And then you get the princess, and she, or I guess the queen maybe, but she's great. Got lots of detail on the printing of her dress and everything. And she's got that little crown that actually connects to the hairpiece, which was kind of a pretty cool feature. And then you get the skeleton on the horse with the scythe, is just an awesome villain for this little play set. And a couple of other just standard skeletons there as well. Yeah, I loved that whole castle line where the whole idea was it was I think some wizard was resurrecting the undead. So the sets came with skeletons and such. And then there was, I believe, a set of the wizard's castle or something that came with him. And I don't know, it was cool. And then I think after the skeleton line is when the dwarves, or not the dwarves, the orcs became the villains. I don't know. It was a great line. I miss it, but you know what? Awesome sets. I'm probably going to rebuild this one soon as well. And yeah, you can also, the drawbridge actually goes up and down. Those chains connect to a little wheel piece, or I guess it's an axle, actually, that the chains wrap around when you twist it. So worked super well for what it was. And yeah, it's a fun little display piece. If you built a castle to go with it, it would be an awesome little display. So yeah. All right, next set. Here we are, number 2. So this one really almost was my number 1, just barely missed it. But yeah, this is the Lego Star Destroyer from 2006 or 7? 2006, I believe. Yeah, it's probably the coolest Christmas present I ever got as a kid. It was a $100 price point at the time, which just goes to show how much inflation has changed these, because this set is way bigger than the Razor Crest, and it's $30 cheaper. To get a Star Destroyer now, way more expensive, and not even just talking about the UCS Star Destroyer, even just like the remake of this set, I believe, is $30 to $60 more expensive. But yeah, it's just an awesome set. Took a long time to build. Even as a kid, I actually got it on Christmas morning, started working on it, built it for most of the day, took a couple of breaks, but then didn't finish it until the following morning. So a lot of fun building it. Came with an awesome arrangement of minifigures. And this is, of course, where I got my first proper Darth Vader with his cape and lightsaber. Yeah, you also get a little Tarkin, an Imperial officer, a couple of Royal Guards, of course, an astromech droid, a mouse droid, and then a couple of stormtroopers. So yeah, it's awesome. The inside is also fully decorated. That entire top section actually comes off. It's got like a little latching system, so you can remove that, and then the top cover folds open, so that you can interact with the inside. I do remember that part being a little bit flimsy. It fell apart kind of easily when you were opening and closing it. But you know what? It was awesome anyways. I loved it. But that little escape pod was actually a cool play feature. The front of the Star Destroyer actually has a little like plunger piece on the inside that when you push it, it pushes the Star Destroyer, the escape pod off of like a little ramp and into the opening. There's like a little square opening on the bottom. So in the New Hope, it was the obviously this is not to scale with the Star Destroyer in A New Hope, but in that movie they had that big like hangar bay on the bottom of the ship that they pulled the Tantive 4 into in the beginning of the movie. This set has that. Of course, you can't see it because it's on the bottom, but that little escape pod can actually be dropped through it. I thought that play feature was a little confusing though, because of course the only way that would work is if you had this thing suspended in the air somehow, which isn't very practical for playing with it, but it was a cool concept nonetheless. Inside, it's also got like a little meditation chamber for Darth Vader. It's got like a little weapons cabinet for the stormtroopers to store their extra blasters. A little station where Darth Vader can kneel, and it has like a hologram of the Emperor, which is just like a transparent blue brick with a sticker on it, but it was cool. It definitely shows its age. This set looks a little bit rough, but it's got that classic Lego charm. The modern Star Destroyer looks a lot more elaborate, a lot more detailed, but this one just holds a special place in my heart because it's the one I had as a kid. Yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about that one, which, that was actually quite a lot, but yeah, awesome set. So let's see. Only one set could top it for me, and that is the 20th Anniversary Slave 1. Now, yeah, of course, as I mentioned at the beginning, no UCS sets on this. Of course, if I had the UCS Slave 1, it probably would have been number 1. Well, maybe not actually, because this set is, it's the more affordable of the two, of course. Of course, nowadays this one is out of print. I actually got my set recently from a used Lego store. Yeah, it's awesome for what it is. So it's part of the 20th Anniversary line where they remade a bunch of old sets. So this was a remake of the original Slave 1. It's a massive improvement over that one, but that first run of Lego Star Wars sets did look pretty rough. They were still kind of finding their rhythm. Should have found a picture of the original one so that I could compare them for you, but I didn't do that. So just go look it up. The 2000, was it from 2000? I believe 2002 maybe. The Slave 1. Either way, this set, it's amazing. So like I said, between this one and the UCS set, I think this one still takes number 1 just because it's the more affordable set. The UCS Slave 1 is like a pipe dream set for me. It's one I've always wanted to own, but you struggle to find one going for under $600, and yeah, that's a little hard to justify when, taxes and groceries are a thing. But yeah, so this is the more achievable of the two, but for what it is, it's amazing. It's got it's got like a little bay that opens up so you can store the little Han Solo and Carbonite in there. Comes with a pretty cool assortment of minifigures as well. You get, of course, the classic Leia with the 20th anniversary printing on the back. Those were exclusive to the 20th anniversary sets. I believe they made like 4 or 5 of them, and each one came with a classic figure. But aside from that one, you get Boba Fett, of course. He's always awesome. You get Zuckuss and Forlom there. The detail on those guys is great, and the weapons are cool too. And you get a Han Solo out of Carbonite, just in case you want to do that. Also, it does have like a missile shooting function. Those little green dots underneath the cockpit are actually, or I guess, underneath when it's flying, not underneath in this picture. But those little green dots are actually rockets, and they pretty seamlessly incorporated the mechanism into the ship. On the back of it, when you're holding it up, which I guess I should also mention, it has a little handle that pops out of the back for, as the instruction booklet says, maximum swoosh, which, I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, it's got a little handle so you can hold it up and fly it around. And next to the handle, it's got 2 little switches that you push down to release the missiles for that play feature. Super cool. It also has a cool feature where the wings there and also the seat that Boba Fett sits on, those are actually on a swivel, or I guess they're like mounted on an axle and just freely hanging and weighted in a certain way that when you tip the ship up, they actually automatically rotate so that the wings fold down into flight position and Boba Fett rotates to be facing forward in the cockpit. Just really cool. Very detailed set for what it is. I believe it was at, I want to say it was a little over $100 when it first came out, honestly, which, yeah, it's a bit of a steep price point. This is a super cool set, but, it's not that high of a piece count. It is. It's a high piece count. It's a fun build, but there are bigger sets that went for the same price, so it is a little bit shocking. But you know what? Between this one and the UCS, this one is still the most achievable, and I'm repeating myself at this point, so this is probably a good place to conclude the video. But yeah, that is my top 10 Lego sets of all time, at least by my personal opinion at this time. Maybe I'll make another one in a few years when I've had time to buy more Legos. Either way, yeah, thanks for watching. I guess I should roll the outro now. Yeah. It's weird without Mingus. So yeah, go ahead and send us fan mail. Tell us to get real jobs. Real Placeholder Podcast Official at gmail.com. It's in the description. Maybe check the description if you want that email address. Just make sure I didn't say it wrong. Anyways, this was weird. I hope Mingus is back soon, because I can't do this anymore. It's over. Bye.